Jaromir Jagr.
The average hockey player hangs up their skates in their mid-30s, maybe stretches it to 40 if they're a rare breed. But then there's Jaromir Jagr, a living legend who laughs in the face of retirement. At 53 years old, this guy's still lacing up, still scoring goals, and still dominating hockey in 2025 like it's no big deal. We're talking nearly 40 years of pro hockey, 4 decades of sweat, grit, and glory. This isn't just a career, it's a saga. Jagr's racked up Stanley Cups, scoring titles, an MVP award, and enough highlights to fill a museum. He's not just your typical player. He's an era-defining force who's rewritten what we think is possible in the sport. How has he kept going when everyone else would have called it quits? And what's the secret behind this hockey machine that refuses to stop? Is it sheer talent, an unbreakable work ethic, or something deeper, like a love for the game that burns brighter than anything else? We're diving into all of that today, tracing Jagr's journey from a kid in Czechoslovakia to a global icon who's still out there, stick in hand, at an age when most people are coaching or golfing. But before we get started, 90% of you watching aren't subscribed yet, so help us hit 1,000 subscribers by smashing that button, liking, and commenting. Let's get into it. Jagr's story starts in Kladno, a small town in what was then communist Czechoslovakia. Born in '72, he grew up under a regime where hockey wasn't just a game, it was a rebellion. As a kid, he'd sneak in training sessions, skating at age 3 and showing off skills that hinted at something extraordinary. At age 15, he was already playing at a top level in Czechoslovakia, dodging the restrictions of the Soviet-controlled world. At age 17, he became the youngest member of the national team. Then in 1990, everything changed when the Iron Curtain was crumbling, and Jagr became the first Czechoslovakian player drafted into the NHL without defecting, and he was picked 5th overall by the Pittsburgh Penguins. He hit the ice running, scoring 27 goals as a teenager in his rookie season, and he helped the Penguins snag their first Stanley Cup. The next year, another cup in '92. Jagr wasn't just along for the ride either. He was a key piece of Pittsburgh's dynasty, proving he belonged among the giants. And that was just the beginning. Through the '90s, Jagr transformed into a full-blown superstar, blending speed, skill, and a flair that made him unforgettable. That legendary mullet, it became a symbol of his larger-than-life presence. He snagged 5 Art Ross trophies as the NHL's leading scorer in '95, '98, '99, 2000, and 2001, racking up points with a style all his own. In '98 to '99, he won the Hart Trophy as the league's MVP, silencing anyone who thought he was just riding Mario Lemieux's coattails. Jagr's stick handling was wizardry, his strength on the puck unmatched, and his knack for creating plays turned games into art. By the end of the decade, he wasn't just a Penguin, he was a hockey icon and a name that defined the '90s NHL and set the stage for an epic career no one saw coming. In 2001, Jagr's Pittsburgh chapter closed with the blockbuster trade to the Washington Capitals. The Penguins, strapped for cash after signing him to a massive $48 million deal in '98, sent him packing for prospects. It was a shock for fans, and for Jagr, it was a rough fit. In Washington, he still put up all-star numbers, 79 points in 2001-2, but it wasn't the same. The team struggled, and Jagr's production dipped below his sky-high standards. By 2004, the Caps traded him to the New York Rangers, a move that could have signaled the end for a lesser player. But Jagr, he was just getting started. That trade marked the beginning of his journeyman era, a wild ride that showed he could shine anywhere, anytime. Cue the rebirth at Madison Square Garden. In 2005-06, at age 34, Jagr exploded for 54 goals, breaking Ranger records for goals, points, 123, and power play tallies in a single season. Analysts had whispered he was past his prime. Jagr's response? A middle finger to the doubters with one of the best seasons of his career. He led the Rangers to the playoffs 3 straight years, proving his fire still burned hot. That mullet might have been tamed, but his game was sharper than ever. And he wasn't just a star, he was a leader, even serving as Rangers captain. At an age when most players fade, Jagr was rewriting team history and reminding the hockey world he was far from done. Then in 2008, Jagr threw a curveball. He left the NHL for Russia's KHL, signing with Avangard Omsk. At 36, he could have coasted, but instead, he dominated, captaining the team and racking up points like it was the 90s. He stayed 3 seasons, proving he was still elite on a global stage. But the NHL wasn't finished with him. In 2011, at 39, Jagr made a stunning comeback with the Philadelphia Flyers, kicking off a 7-year odyssey across 6 teams: Flyers, Stars, Bruins, Devils, Panthers, and finally the Calgary Flames in 2017-18. He became a mentor to younger players, still piling up points, 66 with Florida in 2015-16 at age 43, and showing a resilience that defied logic. His final NHL season at 45 with Calgary was cut short by injuries, but even then he left as the second highest scorer in league history with 1,921 points. Jagr wasn't just a nomad, he was a hockey phoenix, rising again and again. After the Flames released him in 2018, Jagr didn't head for the golf course. He went home to Kladno, Czech Republic, to his roots. He'd bought his hometown club, Rytíři Kladno, years earlier, and now he took to the ice as both owner and player. Most guys would have hung up their skates to focus on the business side, but Jagr, he kept playing. In his first season back, he helped Kladno climb from the second-tier Chance Liga to the top-tier Czech Extraliga, scoring clutch goals like 2 in 2020 at age 47. Of course, his production has dipped with age, 4 assists in 15 games in 23-24, but his presence is still electric. He's a local hero, keeping the club alive with his name and his grit. A one-man economic engine for Kladno hockey. Fast forward to 2024-2025, Jagr's 53 and he's still out there, competing against kids half his age. This season is his 37th as a pro. He's played 7 games for Kladno, notching a goal and an assist by October. He's lighter now, down 30 pounds from 270 after a wake-up call in 2023, moving like he did in his NHL days. Opponents marvel, fans chant his name, and teammates lean on his wisdom. He doesn't dominate like he once did, but every shift is a testament to his longevity. He's not chasing stats anymore, he's chasing the thrill of the game, the roar of the crowd, the feel of the ice under his blades. So why doesn't he stop? Jags doesn't need the money or the fame, he's got plenty of both. He just loves hockey too much to quit. He said it himself, it's about happiness, not obligation. Even as owner, he could step back, but instead he's out there leading by example. It's the purest dedication we've ever seen, a guy who's played in 5 decades from the 80s to the 2020s, because the game is his lifeblood. Jagr's not just refusing to retire, he's redefining what retirement even means. Jagr's stats are jaw-dropping. He's second all-time in NHL points with 1,921, trailing only Wayne Gretzky's 2,857. He's 5th in goals with 766, 4th in games played at 1,733, 1st in game-winning goals with 135, and the numbers go on. In over 24 NHL seasons, he's piled up records. Most consecutive 30-goal seasons, 15. Longest gap between Stanley Cup finals, 21 years. And the only player to skate in the finals as both a teenager and over 40. He's a 2-time Stanley Cup champ, a triple gold member with Olympic and World Championship gold, and a 5-time scoring leader. The Hockey Hall of Fame awaits, delayed only because he keeps pushing retirement back. And he's not just a stat sheet, he's a monument to what's possible in hockey. His work ethic is the stuff of legend, hours of extra practice, a commitment that inspired stars like Crosby, Ovechkin, and McDavid, all who grew up idolizing him. He mentored generations, from Pittsburgh rookies in the 90s to Florida's young guns in the 2010s. His love for hockey and his refusal to quit have made him a symbol of resilience. At 53, he's finally hinted this might be his last season, but even when he stops, Jagr will never stop being a hockey player. So what do you think? Is he the greatest hockey lifer ever? And what's your favorite Jagr moment? Drop it in the comments below, subscribe if you love hockey content, and check out these 2 videos on screen. Keep the Jagr love alive, and we'll see you in the next one.